Hey everybody, it's me again, Randy Wittes, and this is a 67 Chevelle, and that's a parts car, and here's the shop. So we got the quarter, we took it off, we epoxied underneath where all the welds were. Now we're trying to put it back on. Oh, never ends. Ready, set, go. No. Whoopsie. Gonna hurt. So, where we are now, I had to get creative and put a handy dandy little clamp right there. Because for some reason, trying to put this up on here again, this did not want to come together. I do remember, I think I attached it here first and then attached it over there. Why that matters, I do not know, but hey, we have to, and I even tried straightening out that, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But we got to get this gap closed up using that and some clamps, and let's get to it. Problem is, I don't know where this gap's going to be in relationship to the quarter, and all right, well, looking for my clamps. I know this is one I need. Looking for a little piece of metal that I had. I don't know why I can't find stuff. I mean, that's a piece of rubber. Guess we'll try that piece. I know it was a longer piece. I'm gonna look for it. I'll be right back. But anyhow, so we're getting this pulled together. One clamp up here. Let's get another one down here in the bottom. You can. See if we can get this pulled in. Back to the dilemma of I don't know where my clamp went. That may have done it right there. Didn't need that piece of metal. I've got to put in, I mean, as tight as we're getting it, looks pretty good. I'm gonna put me in a screw right here. Probably right somewhere. I'm gonna put one in. I hope that's good. This one. I can tell you right now, you're not good. You gotta let that loose. On my other clamp. Oh, let's have a look, see what's happening. Yeah. That's what I thought. I'm very confused with what's happening right now. That hole's lined up. Well, you know, we've spread this before. We're gonna have to spread it again. But we have this looking much better. That right there. But hey, what are you gonna do? Take it back off? It might. What I'm saying is that right there. That's too far forward, but not according to this. So, let that ride. Okay, I'm gonna fiddle fart around with this a little bit to make sure I can get it back. I may take it off and mess with this. This is a real pain. It's a pain, real pain. Okay, good news. Reset the clamp, got that closed up. See? Pushing on this with the jack. Lined up this hole, we're going to put a screw in it. released it. Fingers crossed. Well, pretty straight gap. It's just not wide enough. Amazing how things change. Well, that hole did nothing. So, let's see here. Oh, let's look at this other side. I mean, this just takes a bazillion years to mess with. Because this is the last time this quarter's coming off. It's on, we're not even close to a gap. This is, you know, that's something. Okay, well, we're going to move that over. We're going to put the light in, the housing, and see where we end up there. Be right back. So, our gap looks better. I actually got it to fit this. Well, it did. Not sure what happened. Anyway, this is a smidge. Well, it's kind of pushing it over, actually. Smidge bit bigger than the gapping tool. I got this. This is a little high. This is coming in range. I'm just knocking it down with the 2x4 and the hammer because it's only clamped. Once I get it there, I can somehow lock it in, which would probably be a weld. Trying to make sure everything else is kosher, I guess. You know, when you start fitting things, when you start getting picky, and picky's not always good. See, this one's pretty close. Keep in mind there's a ripple here, a ripple effect. A little tool, that'll show you. That's where we are with the tool. So we're basically, you know, tighter than the tool as far as this is concerned. Now the difference with that is it's bigger than the tool here. I was kind of looking at this right here, and ADHD. So I was kind of looking at this line right here, and it looks, because this is pretty close to that. I don't know if it comes into a V or if we trimmed a little bit of this off here to match this down here. And we're talking a little bit. That'd fix that problem. This whole nother ordeal. It's pretty straight. Not quite as large. We still have some pushing to do. Our gap is gone. It's okay. You can open it up a little bit. Anyway, what we were doing was this. We wanted to see where that corner was. This is flush. Not flush. Let's see where that was. Just hitting the edge. Just a level there. We can bring this up some. And I've been doing that with my little handy dandy 2x4s, because this was a little low, like it is right there. Let's see if we can fix that a little bit. Sorry about my camera work. I've noticed I don't always get the picture in the frame. Sticking the 2x4 underneath, doing a little pry job on the jamb. Old body man trick. Make sure you don't kink stuff. That's easy to do. Still a little low right here. Where is it? Right there. That really did anything. I'm doing it just little by little. It's closer, little by little. There we go. Hear that? Didn't buckle anything. Probably dented the inside because it's so frickin' thin. Okay, so good to go. Little tool's kind of nice because, you know, it's just a little thing. Now we got to deal with this. Why this is off, not too sure. But that's what happens. You take quarters off and they change. So this whole thing right here, including this, is, well, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's a little high. So I've got a couple Clecos I need to put in around here. Get that done. Hopefully they fit. Perfect. What's wrong with that one? Good sign when two go in. Yeah, at least it's back where it was. At least you hope. Right. It's just so impressive when the holes line up like that. All right. Gap looks good still. Door's not shutting all that wonderfully. I think I did try to tweak on that a little bit. Pulling it down some. Play with that for a sec. Alright, small little adjustment. Yeah, of course it does it then. Hops on me. Why wouldn't it? Still looks okay. My tool. My little tool. Where is it? My little tool. Man. I need to put this thing around my neck or something. Alright, so that gap doesn't work. That gap worked. Now it doesn't really. Yeah. Pretty tight. That's okay. We can fix that. We ground it and welded it once, so we got room to play. Would really rather put this gap on it here because of primer, filler paint, all that good garbage. You know what I mean? But we'll get there. Oh, it's pretty close already. That's already pretty close. Pretty wide down there. Yeah, that works. That one's pretty close. close. Yeah, all right. Cool. You know this one fits. Yeah. But we gotta fix all that and take it off, put it back on. That'll be coming up shortly. All right, you guys, this is old, I don't know what you want to call it, bodywork or butchery or just make it fit. I mean, you know, I didn't think I'd be cutting up new quarter panels to make them fit. But I'm trying to get this around the end and my edges all fit. This has a little extra to it. Trying to, you know, get it all to work. So right now I've got most of this. This dips a little bit too much, so we put a little support here. Be able to just, and I don't know if you saw it, but I was rolling it on that curve. Okay, well, we got that. We are, I mean, the 16th, really, of an inch. I know this was a little problem spot. It's got a couple little wobbles in it. You know, wobbles. Yeah, that's kind of big. Kind of big right there. Flattens out better. We can flatten this some, just so it's easier to make them match. I guess I'd rather build this than that. Let's see. Didn't move a lot. It's getting smaller. It's more right there. Still, we'll work on it because they said the quarter's a little flat right here. So, you know, the happy medium that we always talk about. Now that's back up. Let's see. This is supposed to come into that and then curve up. I don't know if you could see it when I did that. Come into it and then curve up. Not dump in and then do this. So all right, well, screw around with that once we get this welded in place, because it's gonna move. And it seems like I have like 3 videos just on this right here. See you in a bit. All right, everybody, well, we're on this side now for the moment. Just did a little readjusting the light, readjusting this here. Got the jack pushing this over, Doesn't look terrible, but you know, we're still working on it. Got me one of these, a brick chisel. I do need to round this little corner off a little bit. A little too sharp. That'll poke holes in a heartbeat. And round off that edge. I did use it right in here. Right in that little jam right there. And I'll show you what it did. Flattened that out real nice. Sucked that edge down right here that was sticking way up. So we got it in the ballpark now. That's right there where it needs to be. This is actually, yeah, we'll just cut it right there and move that in, and we won't worry about it. Anyway, we're gonna tweak around on that some more. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut once we establish this gap again, which, you know, this is not lining up here. So we got to bring that over some. We'll have to do the same thing as we did over there. Cut along here, close that gap up some. But I think what I want to do, I was just playing with this a little bit. I want to get this welded in place in a couple spots so that doesn't ever move anymore. Okay, see you in a bit. Hey, so we're back. We're messing around with this area here still. Getting ready to line that up and start welding some stuff on. But what I was noticing, my deck lid right here, when I opened it, it was like this. That side's not like that. I'm like, well, why? And I mentioned that before in another video, that opened funny right there. So, been messing with it a little bit. And that messing means, you know, just pulling and pushing. But the issue was I could, if you hear that, that's basically play in my hinge pin. The other side doesn't have it. So to make it better, because it was worse than this, I simply pulled up a little. Got my height here, and that was the issue, is the clearance in here was tight. Now we are close to that side. May have to pull it a little bit more. Check the corner heights. This is still okay. Within that happy medium range. This is still okay. More tweaking to do. But the main thing is it just lifts up. It doesn't go up. You know what I mean? That side just lifts up. Well, it still wants to go in a little. When I sit it down, you see it mostly. What is the difference, I wonder? I don't know. But we're gonna, since the pulling on it seems to work, we're gonna do it a little more. Essentially all I'm doing is I'm either bending the hinge, which I doubt, or I'm bending the understructure of this deck lid, which I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. You don't want that. Oh, I see. It's a Cleco right there. Anyway, we are in the ballpark, and it's acting much better. So what I really need to do is go underneath and tack the skin here and here at least, because that skin's moving, I'm sure. So be right back, see what we have to do on that. All right, so that's all I did. Just a little, that one's probably not holding anything, but, and I turned up my heat, and really, you know, get that contamination and things don't work out well. You know, I cleaned it with a wire brush, and at least on this side, couldn't down there because couldn't reach it. And so I went to sandpaper. Probably contaminated it with that, who knows? You know how that goes. That's bright and irritating. Holy cow. Okay, so got that settled for the moment. Let's start working on this. Getting everything where we want it. Start welding something. It's kind of scary. Well, before I started welding, I thought, well, let's put it in the back glass and see how that fits. All right, I made some little spacers out of paint sticks underneath to help pull it up some. Probably will be more than that, because I think it was 3/8 butyl tape that we used, or you use, I don't remember. Anyway, get us in the ballpark. The concern I had was right here, and I believe that was the same issue it had from the factory. And this right here, this all looks pretty good. Squeeze that in a little bit, and voila, we'll be in the same area. Fix that little gap right there. Got the height about the same-ish here. Like I said, it's just kind of rough, just to make sure it fits in there. But it's also giving me an idea of what's not correct. And it's this. And I don't know if you can see through the glass right now. I can pick it up, probably not. But right there, the factory understructure is in the middle of that spot weld hole, which, yeah, you know, I just put those holes in there randomly. but at the same time, we got a little gappage issue right there. So, and I had it squished in a little bit more. So what do we do about that? What needs to happen? We are level across because I have the same. One other thing that would mess that up is if this panel down here was kicked one way or the other, but you know, we spent a lot of time lining that up. So what is the solution? This one needs to come in, we're okay. And you know, we've got to have enough room for tape, the sticky stuff, to put underneath. So this side says, yeah, it's okay. Up here, not so much. There's not a lot of room there. But I don't think they did from the factory either. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can't see anything. The edge is like right here. So I'm gonna screw around with this a little bit and see where our happy medium is. Before I start welding, I was gonna start welding here underneath that pinch weld, which wouldn't affect up there. But you know, I didn't want to start going that direction before I knew where that window needed to be. So, see you in a minute. Okay. It's interesting. Just throw in some, and this up here is not really where it needs to be. It's not clamped down. So our angle, because this is, you know, our angle, is not coming together the best right there. Again, that's not fitted yet. But I need to know, before I weld this flange in here, where this needs to set, where that flange needs to set, in or out. You know, is that gap? Oh, I don't know. You know, this one actually doesn't fit bad. I know of, but look at here. So push this down, pushes that over, pushes that up, and you know, yeah, it's a piece of stainless. I mean, do they ever fit worth a crap? No, especially this back window. But we're gonna do our best to make it fit. But why does this one, you see that flange sticks out up here. It needs to be pinched in. Like down here, you don't see it. Up here you see it. And that's fine. This one needs to come in. But then it's causing gappage. and I don't know why. So we may have to take the roof skin off. Again, this isn't where it needs to be. I just want this straight. You have a gappage in here at the moment. Let's pull that over. Okay. Let's okay. So try to make that fit. Keep in mind, you know, all this fits in with little stupid clips. It's not matching our curve at the moment. Oh, why can't it just go? Just be smooth. You know, why do you have to fit everything before you do anything? This is why it takes so dang long. See you in a minute. All right, you guys, we're gonna check the gap from the seal to the trunk lid right here. See if there's any daylight coming through. And if there is, then we gotta work this little edge before I weld stuff up. So, let's see. Do I see any daylight? Oh, hell yeah. I do. I don't know if you can see it or not. But, go and open that back up. Well, you didn't see it, I don't think, but it was right in here. It's not sealing. So, trick to that, the rubber mallet. And I don't want to push the whole thing up. I just need to bend this area here. try it again. Okay, looks a little more sealed. So, all right, that's better. I've gone a little too far, but you know, it's easy adjustable, as you can tell. I'll smack with a hammer. But I'm gonna weld something. See you in a minute. All right, well, we're gonna weld something. So, I made my first weld in there, nice and boogery. Got a little hole in it because of contamination. Probably better if I didn't have this copper in it. But any epoxy is gonna mess it up. But, what are you gonna do? Keep moving on. See how this sounds. Done that in a while. You gotta run it a little hot. Down. It's ugly down in there. It's really ugly. That's how ugly that is. But you know what? We welded something. We're started. And we'll clean it up, make her smooth, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Moving on. This here, this section here. Hope everything's right, because it's staying now. And I didn't see any light through here, so like I said, it's not hard to fix when just by bending this up, this right here. Okay, well, I'm going to weld some more, weld up underneath, which is not going to be fun, and just make some progress. See you in a minute. All right, so the air compressor's kicking, and we got it welded and grinded, and it's ugly, but it gets all filled anyway. So that's where it sits. See if we can put the seal back in. See if we mess anything up. You know, things move. Okay. That one down. Take that out. Set that down. And I'm afraid what's going to happen right here is I'm going to have to come back and cut into it from this way and bring it down from here over to here and somehow bring it down, because you know it's welded up here. But anyway, we'll get that later. Because keep in mind, once we get everything roughly set in, all the metal set in and looking like I want, then I got to take it off the frame and then do the frame, set it back on the frame, and then, you know, everything's gonna move. So that'll be fun. See you in a bit. Well, I hope you can see, but I can't. Wow. Nailed that spot weld perfect. And a little extra just for the heck of it. Right in there. Which, yeah, you can't see. But hey, trust me, I got it. So I'm gonna keep doing that. See ya. Okay, you guys. Well, that came out better than I figured. Way up in there. Yeah, you can see. So we got 3 or 4 spot welds taken care of. And it held together good, nicely. And we got a weld in here. Right there. Cleaned a little bit of the epoxy off and welded up nice. Gap's okay. As far as I can see. I mean, I see daylight down through there, but hey, that's what they put seam sealer in that crack for. And, you know, May weld it up anyway, I don't know. Haven't decided. See you in a minute. So I don't know if you guys remember, you know, just got done welding this stuff up right here. You know, we had this fitting pretty nicely, okay? We just welded this up over here. Didn't do anything but clamp some stuff. And I removed the clamp, but I didn't see anything move, and I actually welded this before I removed any clamps. So yeah, I said I may have to cut that right there. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, well, I had that fitting nicely. So, like I said, things move all the time. All right, I couldn't just leave it alone, so back to fitting better. Okay, and you know, gotta compromise a couple things. But see, I mean, that's not even, you see, that hits like that, but if you go like that, it doesn't, there's virtually no gap. This, it's flat on the deck lid. I'm pushing on it, unfortunately, there. So, and realistically, it's just that area right there that's low. It's okay, because we need to come through here and fix a gap. Anyhow, oh boy. So yeah, we did weld it here and here, keep things from moving. Yeah. So my little 2x4 trick of sticking it up under there and bending it, and so that worked. It got us back in close. We're a little high here. Okay, moving on, making progress. Okay, well, here we are. We're gonna get ready and weld some stuff. Well, that looks nasty in there, but we'll fix it. Anyway, just trying to get this to line up well. Work on that some. We adjusted this, so this is actually lower than this, but this is flush, this is flush, and this line is flush. It's not flush this way, but that's okay. Just trying to straighten this out as much as possible, and that's about as good as we can get it. So, happy mediums. I'm going to put a weld. You see, when I clamp this, it pulls this in. And that's okay, as long as we're aware of it. And we can work with that. Because it actually, pulling that in allowed me to knock the light in to straighten this gap up a little bit. So anyway, moving on. Start welding stuff. Gotta look at something real quick. That being that flange, well, that flange over there is way off. The flange I'm referring to is this inner flange, this right here. That one over there, as you can see, really big. Don't know if I needed to pull this out to this. I don't think so. I think we just need to leave that where it is. And see if we can't drill a couple holes to weld that to this. Yeah. Let's drill a couple little holes. At least I can have a spot weld in there. This drill bit about had it. Needs sharpening, and I'm not good at that. Okay, so let's tuck this back in. All right, yes. Okay. Let's weld her up. I don't know if you saw any of that, but I drilled some holes. Right. Progress. Making progress. So now that's secured. I want to what I want to do is mold this quarter more to the light, I guess. I don't know if I should do that or not. Maybe I should just mold the light to the quarter panel. That's, you know, got an edge there, edge there, edge there. Already got ripples in it. I gotta take out it's in my hand. All I'm doing is creating a bulge right here, trying to push that over. Yeah, just need to leave it alone. I need to do. Good, that's good. That's good. Okay, weld some more stuff. Huh. Well, there's only one way to do it. Probably push that out. crappy welding. But it's welding. So, and the problem that's giving me the welding, the problem is the primer that's on this outer panel is inside the hole, which is giving me an issue. But it gets there. Okay, you guys, had to change that battery, and I do little snippets because it overheats the camera otherwise, and then it seizes up and does stupid stuff. Anyhow, this was not fun for a minute because I was trying to line things up, and things aren't lined up exactly the way they were, but they're close. It sticks out a little bit. But that gap appears to be straight. Okay, lines line up. Man, I tell you what. Now I had that good down there. But putting a big clamp in there and clamping things and this and that probably moves stuff. Like I said, when I put that one screw in, it probably moved it. I put this in, I closed the hood, I had no gap here. And I know I can just simply move my trunk over and that'll give it to me, which it did, but it's like, man, everything's, you move it, you take it off, you put it back on, you gotta readjust, completely different. It just drives you freaking crazy. Makes no sense. Okay, so we've gone down to here with our welding. I want to move over into here, probably this area, start down this way, kind of roll everything down into the wheel well and down to the bottoms. I hope that's lined up right. It's gotta be lined up right. It's not. Cut the rocker off again, move it. Anyhow, that's where we're gonna leave that for today. See you in a minute. So I'm back, but something a little bit different. And got a package today from Original Parts Group. And we're gonna open it, and I haven't put it on yet or fit it. So we're gonna see how well that goes. So they've got some great packaging. Came in there, it was well, it's the trunk lid molding, as well as, well, it's all the rear body panel moldings right there. See, award-winning Resto parts. Let's turn it this way, Resto parts. So we're gonna see how this little bugger fits. And I got some seals for the tail lights and everything, and this comes with the little clips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, little plastic ones, and then 2 end clips. So that's pretty good. And if you don't have enough of those little white clips right there, you could probably go to your local paint store, automotive paint store, and find them. So let's see if it fits better than the other one. I'll put you right back there again. Well, That is better, I think. Got it turned the right way, I hope. Anyway, so push that down. So yeah, that actually does fit better. The other one on the ends, well, let's get it on point here. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of manipulation, but you know, 1/2 inch is better than 3 inches. So within a few minutes, I can have this thing fitting, I believe. And according to that molding, my trunk lid's still a little, you know, but anyway, we can't, you know, I'm just holding it with my fingers, trying to make it fit. Make, you know, what I need to do. So anyway, that's promising. All right, good deal. I'll put that back in the package. And I will fit that later. Just a little tiny slit in there. Oh wait, there was two pieces. There was this piece. There was this piece. And now we put, anyway, you get the idea. Put it back in the package. Put it back in this big protective tube. And we'll get to that a little bit later, make that fit. Sweet. And actually, price-wise, this was a little bit cheaper. Shipping-wise, not so much. So it balances out about the same. See you in a minute. Okay, everybody, we're back on the quarter panel. So as you remember, we had a little fitment issue in this area. Okay, and this was kind of hitting the, not hitting the glass, but had an uneven gap at the glass. So before we weld this in, since we welded this in, so we're rock solid here, here, and here, and around here. And yeah, we won't talk about that right now. These things moved when I clamped them, and they didn't move in a good way always, but here you can see the edge of that a little bit, but it's all right. We'll take care of it. It's called mud. Yeah, whatever. So I've got to figure out a way to get this to line up to my glass. So I'm going to set the glass back in, and we're going to work on that. So see you in a minute. All right, so the back window's in, centered as much as possible. We know our distance here is the same because we have our little blocks. So we're working off of this as far as squareness. We're square with this panel. So we're going up this way, trying to get square here and square over there. And just to give you an idea, I've got my little feeler gauge, which is, you know, actually this gap here that I'm working on, kind of, sometimes. And it's kind of working here. I want at least this much here. I remember correctly, these were an issue in the corner. But as you can see, we have way too much up there. And you see inside, I'm off of the original flange as far as the factory framework on the inside, which I don't like. Now this side, a little gap. Nice all the way up except for here, which this can be squeezed over just enough to make that work. Good to go. And down here, good to go. Moved it a little bit, but that's okay. So we're good. So what do we do about this side? Well, what I'm thinking is, and I'm hoping for, I can move that out, obviously, but then I'll be off that flange. You can see the gold through there. I'll be more off that flange up here. Down here I'm fine. And as it tapers off. So can we move the inner flange out any? Oh, well that's, yeah. That doesn't look so good. Let's find a light so we can actually see what we're doing. And I'm gonna shut this door because the sun's shining in there. And ow, my butt. All right, so we can see up here. All right, so we can see up here, at least I can, I don't know if you can, and that cannot be moved at all. Do you see what I'm talking about? Or is that's not matching the original structure? And it's not this piece, that's for the headliner. It's actually this piece that comes out and around. So what do we do with that? It's a good question. Oh, see a little alignment hole there. They're a little off. Dilemma. So, is this another one of those happy mediums that we talk about? You know, do we leave that? Do we think about it for another 2 weeks? Because that's how long it's been since I worked on the car. Yeah, let me think about it in a minute. Be right back. All right. So, yeah. As you can see, I put the molding in. It's not my original molding with the car because it had a bend in here that was only visible when you put it up against that. So that fits much better. This, as you can see, is a big gap, which we figured. These never fit worth the crap. You know, and if you push that down and lock that in, that little joint right there is rubbing the crap out of your paint. I contemplated on eliminating this molding somehow. Just haven't figured out how to do that. Because, you know, this down here is a water trap and a rust out trap. And although it looks good with the molding, I don't know. Anyway, that's another thing. So, what I believe I'm going to end up doing, and I can't help it, is I'm going to bring this back out that way and do what I can in there as far as welding it to the inner structure flange, and then add a piece underneath just for a little more strength. You know, it's only going to be that wide, and then weld to that, obviously. So that's my plan for the moment. You got any other plans, let me know, but mine will already be done by then. See, this side's much nicer. And this side, it's got to go in a little, which, you know, again, these little joints don't make things fit like your new stuff today that are just, you know, very precise. This is 67 issue. Molding up here would fit down here roughly, but the glass isn't spaced at the top very well because of the pliers. Could put a Cleco in it from the reverse side, but I didn't do it yet. Let's see. Okay, let's pull all that back out and continue on. Let's do some welding. Okay, well, we did something. So what we did was, and to put the glass in and fit the quarter to the glass like I wanted it to, I had to hold it somehow, and a clamp isn't gonna work. I tried a Cleco from the reverse side, and all that did was move over. So what did we do? So what I did, actually, worked out quite well, is I put a screwdriver in there and gave her a little twist and then put her down, and it held it long enough for me to get a little weld on there. So now she's welded in place for the moment, and you can see how far off that inner piece is. That's a good, that much, all the way up to here. Not so much, but how critical is that? I don't know. I just don't like it. So we'll fix it some way, shape, or form. Like I said, I'll add a piece to it. And we're not done lining things up here. This, I don't know if you can see, but this is nice and straight up to about here. And then this kicks this way. Okay? This up here kicks this way. You see in that crease? Oh, it kind of goes up that way. But that's also wider, or wider here than it is here. Yeah, whatever. I'll show you. Let me put the back glass back up here. my stuff move around too much. And that needs to move over. Okay. So we have moved over. Move over a little more. All right. So, yeah, we're a little. That's fine because it's that way on the other side. So we're pretty well equal all the way up. Yeah, it hits the curve and pushes me in. So I try to keep it as flat to the back as possible. And I need to go over here and gap this side. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. You see how we go from good, I mean it's good, a little wide, it's about the same. Just depends on where I hit that curve down there. But then up here, we get tight again, right there. And like I said, you look down in the corner, you see how that line turns in towards the glass. So I'll end up knocking that corner this way, which is fine, because that'll put those holes more towards the inner structure. I was just thinking of how that's going to affect the roof. The roof isn't attached, other than that clamp right there. It's just floating up here, more or less. So that's okay. But I believe we're lined up with one hole here. Maybe a couple others. But anyway. Yeah, whatever. All right, so that's where we are there. Let's remove our back glass and see if we can get this corner to move somewhat. Handy dandy little taped on zip tie. Tried pieces of tape over here and it just kept tearing. Got me a new tool. Been wanting these for years and never got one. It's a brick chisel. Really need to round these corners off so you end up cutting your sheet metal. So I'll give you just a little right there, and you can see that it's needs to come over. And we're going to see if this hammer will do it. Concentrate more pressure up here in the corner. That probably did it. Put the back glass back in again. Don't move it too far. Check the other side. You guys, I mean, this doesn't have to be perfect. You know, I'm using a feeler gauge and everything. It's just giving me an idea. I just want it as close as possible to the same. And we've got more of a gap up there, just like we wanted. The same there. Yeah, it's, you know, it gets tight down there too. So the molding would cover it. Okay, keep that in mind. But if I want to go through and reset this glass we're touching, shift that over. Okay. You know, why not get it as close as possible? Anyway, there you are. It's as close as possible. Happy medium. The sun right there is killing me. All right. So I think we're good with that. We'll pull the window back out. Weld this next little spot somewhere. Probably right there where the cleco hole was. Cover up your glass and anything you don't want splatter on. Put in our next little spot weld. Next little spot weld. Hope this is it. Having a little problem. And the problem is there's no bare metal and there's such a small little thing to hit. Pretty ugly, but it's there. It is there. You know what I was hoping? I was hoping to get all this welded today, all that welded, and all that welded. Yeah. you know, and I probably take longer than I should because I think too much. And hey, it's my car. I'm not getting paid by the hour. All right, I like it. Right there. So now we'll go through, I gotta grind that little weld off on the back side, that one too. I'll come in and fabricate a little piece to put behind that flange. And I don't know, I was looking at how big the flange is through the glass, but that's fine. You need that. And I mean, look how much I have up there. Not much. Look how much I have down here. Not much. Was thinking, could I make that smaller? Yeah, probably could. Let's look at the other side. Oh boy. It's about the same. That's gonna come that way. It's not the same. It's about this side. This flange does seem a little bit bigger. I probably that much, so I could shave some of that off, 1/8 to 3/16 once I get my flange built from the back side. Does it matter? I don't know. See you in a minute. Okay, so we've got that tacked. That's not. So I want to move to over here. And there's this goofy little bracket that, word to the wise, probably remove it from there. Remove it from here and reattach it into here like some of the other pieces. Because the way I did it, it's a real pain in the ass. Trying to get it on and off of there and up underneath that. And I mean, even though it's possible, this keeps getting moved and bent and turned and all kinds of weird stuff. Let me get a better light. If it works, it's maybe doesn't. I don't know. That worked. All right. So now, because now the other thing is I have to figure out how to clamp that and weld it with my back glass in here. And I can't get to it in through here, of course. And under normal circumstances, your back glass wouldn't be in there, so it wouldn't be a big deal. But I've got to make things difficult. So, let me, yeah. All right, let me figure out a way to get this thing in place. God, I can't get my hand in there. And get her clamped. Be right back. All right, try the old handy dandy slide hammer. I don't know if you can see or not, but hey, you get the idea. That actually worked. That got me where I needed to be, and that's closer. So I'm wondering if I can run me a screw through that to pull it in tight. Just bending on me. Drill. Holy cow. Cannot do that. Man. More than one way to skin a cat. Hope the cat didn't hear me. I don't know, this is gonna drop about 45 of these before I get one in there. Sure. Okay, we got, well, kind of one in there. Okay, we got one in there. We got it up flush. Not real pretty, but it's there. Okay, there. Hope you can see. See? Yeah. All right. Okay, so we're going to throw a weld there and a weld there. Remove the screw. Tap this stuff in. See how that goes. See you in a minute. All right. Okay, well, it's spot welded. They're ugly, but it's there. I'm gonna have to grind these off. Pretty big old booger. And we'll move on to the next area, which should be, I don't know, that or this. I don't know. We'll see in a minute. Okay, best tool for the job was that right there. Although the grinder with the hard wheel did get me partially in there, but basically the little belt sander was the best, and it got down in there and got them all. So we got that taken care of. Now to move along to, oh boy, let's clean up the welds on the back of this, and how we got it all the way down there. So yeah, I'm gonna do some more grinding, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, metal's ground off. Got a piece of scrap steel. Always keep your steel. And let's see, what are we gonna come up with? Well, apparently we need to cut some more. Okay, I think that's about it right there. And that's all we have to put on. Didn't even seem worth it, but you know, it is what it is. So let's go cut this, and I'll be right back. Okay, that's a little better. It's not a curly cue. Makes a difference which side you cut on the shear. The shear being that thing right over there. You can see it. Call it a shear, I don't know. You cut stuff. So that's what we call it. Before we do this, we need to coat this with some primer. Okay, coated with primer. Which way are we going? This way. Okay. I'm going to cover things up. I don't want any welding splatter on my sheet metal work on the inside, as well as the glass on the outside. Or the cardboard box. Okay, you're hearing all that popping and cracking and crap is because of the epoxy, which is in the holes that I'm trying to weld, even though I have weldable primer on the other side. So it is what it is. Guess I scared the cat. Oh, he's back over there. He was sitting right here. He's hungry. He's a feral cat who we fattened up, and he's coming around, letting me pet him and stuff. Okay, got that in place. And now, gotta weld this seam up, which has epoxy on it, but I'm gonna clean it off before I do that. And must be about 3 o'clock because the cat wants to be fed. He's got a, yep, see? He's got a pretty good timer. So, all right. So we got a couple things accomplished. This little thing in the back, you know, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna spot weld a couple places and call that good. I just wanted something a little stronger for this edge, and that's much stronger. So tomorrow or whenever we'll get down into here somehow. I'm not sure how yet. I gotta go down through there. Gotta roll the window up, go down through there, and weld that flange and this brace to the rocker. Yeah. Alright, so I'm currently straightening this edge up here. Got these in and sucked the panels together. So I'm just, like I said, straightening this edge up. All right, that's straightened up. So it's clampable. Screw here, none down there, just clamps, but it's straighter. And then I'll clamp as I weld. So this, as you can see, it's nice and flat up through there. And I think I'm going to do this on the outside somewhat, and then go to the inside. I want to see how this all comes out. This looks good and flat. See, that sucked that in where that needs to be. That's good. Seems to be a little gap there. Don't like that. You know, what are you gonna do? This is sticking out. So we'll address that when we get to it, I guess. Okay. Get the welding something. See you in a minute. Okay, well, I need to see down in there. I've got a couple little spots, and I don't know if you can see them. Way down. Bottom. Well, I'm going to point at it. It's a welder, right? Wherever this gold is, you can see it. You can see a welder. You can't see anything. Anyway, you get it. You get the point, I think. Way down in here. So I'm going to get my little hammer out and knock the little flanges down as much as I can, as flat as I can. Not a hammer, dolly, because that's all it'll fit, and get it welded up. And I'm not going to show you because I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time. See you in a minute. Well, I got it. As the smoke clears, down, blow some of that out. Down through here is how I had to look. And you can see right in there is where I did some welding. And now I'll stick you in through here and see. Well, I don't know what you can see. That's anyway, down in there, we did some welding someplace. So we got it. It was all right. It worked out. It's welded. As lined up as we can get it. Nothing a little, body filler won't fix. We got to weld up in here on this back side. Straighten this up some. That was the part I was dreading the most. So, progress. Happy mediums. So I'll probably just got to start welding the wheel well, get down to that corner, get that straightened up. I could probably straighten that up now and just weld it on the end real quick and then finish it up at another time. See you back in a minute. Okay, I'm gonna pull this little doodad, this little corner out like so, and we're going to use the trusty this thing here, slide hammer. If we can get her to where we want it. Well, there you go, fixed. That end doesn't meet up real pretty. Right there. See that? Kinda, quarter panel kinda looks like it comes back some. It doesn't meet that. So we are gonna leave that right now, because I may want to cut that, straighten that up. So that was easy. Okay, you know me, I can't leave anything alone, but that's kind of ugly right there anyway. So let's see if we can make it look any better. And what I mean is, I'm gonna cut it. Unfortunately, after I made it all nice on the inside, and I'm gonna hack it up and weld it again. You know, when I'm, for the epoxy is what I mean. Okay, I think that is a little better. All right. I have to get a bigger hammer for that, I think. Okay. So, all this, I think, will work. That comes out from here. That's why I'm kind of not trying to make it flush, because this isn't flush. This has got an edge a little bit, so this is going to have to be built out, but that's okay. All right, see if we can weld that up. Okay, as you can see, I welded on top of the epoxy. Did that for a reason. I wanted to see if it would weld. It kind of did. Kind of didn't. That's okay. Alright, I'm going to quit playing with that for the moment. You know, so I get moved. I don't know. Everything Everything frickin' moves. Okay. Well, we'll fix it. We'll straighten it out, whatever. So, moving on. Maybe up here. I don't know. We'll see. Coming up next. Okay, well, moving on to the wheel well. After that little, whatever. So we have to use this type of clamp because it's got the big old tires on there still. Which, it'd be easier if they weren't, but who wants to do that? Who wants to make it easy? Not me. Let's see what we can do. Can't see anything, of course. Okay, well, I think you get the point. I hope you saw it. They're not welding too bad upside down since I changed that wire speed. See you in a minute. Oh. Okay, well, it's welded in, I think. Oh, got a spot to do there, but see you in a minute. Okay, next in line, this right here. How far do we go with that? We need to clamp her down. Oh boy, let's see. Let's get a big clamp out. Okay, gonna do a little welding. Right up in here. Guess that's about all we can do. Since, we can't move it anymore. Boy, there's two little numbers on the wire feed. Keeps it from going pop, pop, pop and building up big bubbles. Much nicer. So I'm gonna finish these up and we're gonna call that done. See you in a minute. Okay, quick little overview. Got everything welded. Looks great. I have to grind these down a little bit, but there's very little grinding because the welder is set correctly. Go figure. Anyway, moving on. Got all that welded, the inside welded. The wheel well welded. I have not done that. And I'm not gonna make you watch. So I'm gonna end this video right here and say the right quarter panel is now in place and welded. Except for that. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next video.